If this is the only video of mine you ever see, this may be the most important one to watch. Now, what I'm about to share with you, I got from this guy. I didn't come up with this on my own, but it's called The Success Journey. And because this guy has been through so many himself, he is more than qualified to share it with other people. And before we get started with this video, just a quick reminder of who my content is for. You're posting consistently, but your income is still flat. Your content is solid, but the growth and reach aren't there. You know your field, but you don't know what to sell or how to structure it. Or you have expertise, but you haven't even packaged it into content or an offer yet, but you want to. And more importantly, you are 40 and over and you are a subject matter expert. Now, what I'm about to share with you is one of the most important lessons you can learn. And the earlier you learn it, the better. And it's called the success journey. And when you look at this, there are 5 steps to success. And every time I think back to something I did in my life, I think back to this and how, damn it, Alex was right. So let's take a look. So let's look at each step in depth. So the first one is naive optimism. And I like to call this the beginning, right? This is the honeymoon period. This is when you think that something is so great and it's so wonderful and it's going to solve every problem that you've ever had. And you never consider any of the downsides. All you do is look at the positives and you don't even know what the negatives are yet. It is naive optimism. And it is this place where everything is wonderful and nothing can go wrong. And if that happens to be a business, you're looking at this and you're saying, why wouldn't anybody do this? Why wouldn't anybody want what I have to offer? That is number one. Then you're going to go into what we call educated pessimism. This is when the real kicks in. This is when you're out there and you're probably getting kicked in the teeth a little bit. You're finding out this isn't as easy as everyone made it seem that it was going to be. And this is where you do get pessimistic. You do get frustrated. You consider whether or not this is something that you should do. But at least you know that there is a curve that you have to go through. Now, the most disheartening place to be is 3. I call it either the ditch of discouragement or the valley of despair. And this is where you are so frustrated by lack of progress that you're thinking about quitting. You are really close. And then what happens is you get a little bit of resolve and you say to yourself, all I have to do is make it through this point. I just have to get through this. Then you start to come out of it. Now, understand, if you get from 3 to 4, you have already separated yourself from 90% of people. Because most people do what I've done so many times in my life, which is when something got hard, I said to myself, God's trying to tell me this isn't for me, which is such a ridiculous thing to think, but that was me. Rather than tackle difficult things, I would just say, well, if God meant for this to be, then he would have made it easier for me. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson. But once you learn that lesson and you get back to 4, which is educated optimism. Now, this is a really exciting place to be because once you get to educated optimism, here is what happens. You realize, oh, the cheat code is hard work. The cheat code is going through the things that most people won't go through. That old, if you do what others aren't willing to do, you'll live how others can never live. And that is what step 4 and educated optimism is, because the light comes on and you realize it's not about you having some advantage over somebody else or you being just more blessed than somebody else. It's about hard work and figuring out the lessons. And one of the things that Alex loves to say is that everything that you're struggling with, somebody else has already figured out. So that's another one that you can kind of put in your hip pocket. But then what finally happens, and this is the most exciting part, is you go from educated optimism to success. The only thing that will stop you is quitting. And so if you're on this content journey and you haven't figured it out yet, what I can suggest is find one mentor that you believe in, you like the results that they have gotten, and follow them. And then stop following the advice of everybody else. And for the love of God, don't get caught up in shiny object syndrome, which is where most people fail because they try something and then they find something else that they think is going to be better. And all they're realizing is that the grass is always greener. And then you get over there and then you have to water it. So if you will just realize this is the natural path, naive optimism, educated pessimism, the valley of despair, then you start pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, educated optimism, and finally success, then you can have success building income you own rather than income you rent. Now, if you found this video helpful, You're going to find more stuff like this inside of my community. So take the 7-day test drive, see if it's for you. And if it's not, you will cancel before you get charged the whopping $7 to join our community and become one of these people who knows how to build income the right way. Thanks for watching.